Welcome to another episode of Cinema Chat with Amita. Today, we decided to talk about a very special topic. When I say we, maybe it's me right now. So I was talking to a special guest who would appear today about a special topic. So let me brief you a little bit about today's topic. The topic is making expressways safer for everyone. As responsible citizens, we need to realize that the safe driving is in the interest of each of us. And our safety is not the responsibility of anyone else. Sometimes you might have this feeling, okay, my safety is with the hands of the officials, the government, the police officers. No, it's my responsibility. It's in my hands. So, how to avoid paying penalties and prevent accidents in driving on Sri Lanka's expressways is what we are going to talk about today. So let me invite the guest who is here today. His name is Maxwell. Good evening, Maxwell. Mr. Maxwell Ranasinghe.
Hi, Amita. Thank you very much for inviting me for your cinnamon chat with Amita.
So, since the subject is about making expressways safer for everyone, I would like to ask you your connection between roads, vehicles, rules, safety on the road. How did it develop? We all develop a liking towards driving a vehicle. Whenever we are kids, we always think about one day I'm going to drive a vehicle. But then this is not about driving a vehicle. When did you think about this particular topic?
This particular topic was it's an accident really because I have never written a book on expressway driving, though I have written several books on marketing. That is my area of expertise. But I one day when I was driving on the expressway, Southern Expressway to Matara, at the exit gate at the Matara exit gate, a policeman came to me and gave me a traffic ticket. I'm a
Oh,
very good driver, but to my absolute bewilderment, he said, "Sir, you have violated traffic rule." I said, "What traffic rule? I came by adhering to all the rules." He said, "No, sir, you have violated the traffic lane rule because you have driven more on right-hand side lane where it is used only for overtaking." Then I recall whether I have driven on that. Yes, I may have driven because the right lane is very free to drive. Once you overtake, I I have gone about say more than it is required. He said, as soon as you overtake, you need to take your vehicle onto the left side. So then I thought, this is an area that so many other drivers also may make the mistake, and there would be so many other special rules that would be applicable on driving on the expressways. I thought that I should find a book or some information as to these rules. And did a lot of work. And as a lecturer, I do a lot of research work. Whenever I happen to find something, I go to the YouTube, internet. But I couldn't find anything specifically written to Sri Lankan roads as to expressway driving. There were some writings anyway, but not in the form that I wanted. So I thought that I should write a book, not only in English, but also in Sinhala and Tamil as well, because this book should be for everyone, all the drivers. So that is the motivation for me to write this book. So I thought there should be some special rules as to expressway because this is a new experience to us. When I went for my driving lessons, I never thought I was not exposed to this, and I never studied about the rules of the expressway. I thought there would be so many other guys like me. So on our expressway, there are three elements. The first element is entering the road. Entering. How do you merge with the traffic on the expressway? Then driving. The next element is driving on the expressway. The other element is safely exiting the driving way. So there are three elements. One is entering, driving, and exiting. So I did a little bit of research and found there are many things that we need to learn.
what's the language composition?
This is compiled in all three languages, so that it starts from Sinhala. The first version is in Sinhala, then it goes to Tamil, then it's in English. So anybody can read this and understand. It is in all languages, and it is offered at a mere 250 rupees, which is less than four cigarettes. Even the lowest fine on the expressway is more than 1,000 rupees, I think. So this is well worth for a person to invest, and most of the people who purchased it said this is well worth investment. Some of the corporates purchased from me, and they distributed among their own all the drivers. So
Okay.
since it is in all languages,
You wrote a book, and it's available now. What was the feedback you received from the society, from the readers and the leaders, or whatever, whoever got in touch with the book or the booklet? What was their feedback?
the feedback was very encouraging, because most of the drivers said that there are certain things that they even did not know. Even the vice chancellor of the University of Sri Lanka, who wrote the preface, he said, Maxwell, some of the things even I did not know, although he had studied in many parts of the world and gone to many parts of the world. So there are simple things that we need to do in Expressway. So most of the people who purchased the book also recommended. One company purchase this book and send it as a New Year card. You know, because now we usually send New Year messages. This particular company purchased the book and said we are going to send this as a New Year card to our own dealers, etc. So that's very encouraging. And another company who saw this at the in the initial stages of printing, they gave me 2 advertisements, and they said put our advertisement, they will buy further books from me. So they
Okay,
purchased lots of books, and they gave it to their own customers, I think free of charge, as a compliment. So that is the feedback. And some of the readers who purchased the book said, so it is, since it is in 3 languages, they really appreciate it, because anybody can read it. That's a good feature on the book.
super,
Yeah.
super interesting. Now I'm going to enter the highway. Okay, I want to go. Let's say now it's 8:51. Within few hours, or maybe tomorrow early morning, I have to go to Matara, and I will use the expressway.
Yeah.
What should I do?
First thing you should do is ensure your vehicle is in good condition. It's very important. You will
Come
have to
on,
find out.
Maxwell. Come on, Maxwell. My
Check.
vehicle is in good condition. No?
Yeah. What do you mean by good condition is a very important question mark. Yeah. First thing,
Okay.
you need to check your brakes are in perfect condition. Signals are in perfect condition. Wipers are in perfect condition. Tires are in perfect condition. Why I say perfect condition? The condition suitable to drive in on the expressway. Now, some of the brake systems or the tires may be okay for the normal driving, normal roads. But high speeds, especially if you take the example of tires, a partly worn out tires, you can use it on the normal roads. You are running somewhere around 30, 40, 60 kilometers. It doesn't make a big difference. But
Yeah.
on the highway, right, it's so important that your tires are not worn out. You apply brake at very high speeds. So you need to have good tires.
Dr. Lasit from the Jayawardhanapur University. Hi, Amita. Great to see Mr. Maxwell Ranasinghe on the show. I have a question to Mr. Maxwell Ranasinghe. So I'm going to throw that question straight away. Do you think the test when getting the license should test on the awareness of expressway driving, motor cars upwards? Don't know whether it is tested. I mean, they generally test your knowledge of the regular rules, no
Yeah.
parking to and all that. But the kind of things that you mentioned, whether they are being tested while you are getting the license, is we don't know. Let's imagine that they are not testing. Should they be testing these as well?
Yes, doctor, it's a very good question. In most of the other countries, they have 2 stages of driving license. If you take for a country like USA or Canada, they have one license to drive on the normal roads, and then there's another license, or the advanced version is to ride on the drive on the expressway as well. So there are
Yeah.
2 tests or 2 regulations really. So I'm not very sure whether we are testing these things at the moment. We need to verify that. Then, if they are not testing the rules and regulations of driving on the expressway, definitely we should add that part. Definitely we should add that part. And also, when the license are given, the vehicle should be driven on the expressway to find out whether this person could drive on the expressway. That is how the other developed countries give license. I don't think that our guys do that for sure, but We have to develop these, and this is new experience to us. So we need, as public, as the people who are driving, who are for the safety of the vehicles and also of people who are driving on the expressways, should let authorities know that you should adhere this type of licensing, testing and regulations in this country in order to make the roads safe. Very good
Yeah.
question, Lasit.
My
Yes.
next question is, I also read the book. The eighth tip is about a 2 second rule. You want to talk a
Yeah.
little bit about this 2 second rule?
Yeah. 2 second rule is a very important element in driving in expressways. This is to keep your distance. How much a distance that you should keep from the vehicle in front of you. Why? You need time to apply brakes. Few seconds would make an accident or no accident. Therefore, it's very important that you have a safer distance. It is very difficult to let a person know in meters how many meters that you should have. It
Yes.
depends on the speed of the vehicle in front of you and the speed of your own vehicle, the distance. So, how do you do that? There's a simple rule of thumb that is called 2 second rule. What is 2 second rule? Choose a fixed point on the road and wait until the vehicle in front passes that fixed point, maybe a lamp post, maybe a bridge. Then count 2 seconds. You can count 2 seconds in this form: 1001, 1001, right? That is 2 seconds. So as soon as that vehicle passes this particular post or the bridge, start counting: 1001, 1001. If you arrive before counting this 2 seconds at that post, you are close,
Too
right?
close.
Too close, right? If you don't arrive or you are just there, then you are keeping the exact
Safe.
proper distance. I think sometimes even 3 seconds may be okay in Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They say about 2 seconds, but I prefer even to have a longer distance,
Three.
because longer the distance, lesser the probability of having an accident. So that's a very important one. Most of us don't really practice in this country.
Okay. So, one of my personal experiences, you're talking about the distance between the two vehicles. Sometimes those vehicles who overtake you, they overtake you
Hmm.
by keeping a safe distance, and they enter the lane in front of me by almost touching my vehicle.
That's right. That's right.
You want to say something about that?
Yeah, that is something happening all over the world. I think if that happens, the best thing that you can do is not to hoot and shout at him, right?
Yes.
Let him go, and you keep again the distance. There's no other
Yeah.
alternative, right? But you, as a driver, you shouldn't do that. If you are overtaking a vehicle, you must keep that safer distance and enter into the left lane again, rather than entering as soon as you overtake the vehicle. So that's again a good tip on both sides. If the driver comes and takes the distance that you have been keeping, then you let him go and again have the distance as per the 2 second rule. And if you are overtaking, please keep that distance before you enter into the
Left
left
lane
lane
again.
again. Yeah, yeah. That's again important, very important in expressway driving.
Kids in the front seat. Uh, I want you to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, again, this is a very important element in driving on the highways or the expressways. You should not take children or the toddlers or little kids who cannot be secured by the seat belts. Seat belts are not for small kids and toddlers. They cannot be secured because the way that the belt is put, right, it won't hold. I assume that you are having a kid on your lap. Sometimes I have seen most of the parents take children on their lap. The wife sits on the the left side,
Left
and the
side.
husband drives on and keeps. You usually do that because you want to keep your child with you, but that's very dangerous. If you may be wearing the seat belt, but you are not, your son or daughter, the small kid is not wearing. Assume that you meet with an accident, definitely there's a chance that your kid would go onto the end screen. So therefore, in most of the developed countries who use expressways have a regulation. If you take a child or a toddler in the front seat in USA, you are charged, I think, $1,000.
Oh, okay.
Right? Therefore, all what you have to do is there is a specially made baby seats, seats that you can buy from the market. So you have to use one of those and keep your child on the rear seat. So that special baby seat can be securely inserted in the seat belt or the rear seat. So that your child is secured there. Even an accident takes place, yeah, he's seated on the other side, so nothing happens. So if you can show this particular, I have a cartoon. I drew cartoon characters in order to show the importance of these tips that I have written.
Let me share the screen and see. I want you to explain each one. I hope you can see the screen.
Yeah, this is the first one that we wanted to show. Check basically the engine and the rest of the features of the vehicle. Most important features, as we were discussing about the signals, whether you have petrol. Very very important that you have to check whether you have petrol, enough petrol to go to the destiny. And also another very important thing that I had to rescue one of the drivers, the money to pay for the toll. One day
Oh,
when I was going to Katunayaga and this guy was going to Katunayaga, he's trying to catch a plane and he didn't have money to pay the toll fee at the Katunayaga gate. And we were lined up behind him. Then luckily, I thought something wrong. I went there and found out he doesn't have money, so he had to give his identity card and so much of procedures. And I said how much? It was about 200 or 150 rupees. So I paid him and asked him to pay and go. Otherwise, he would have even missed the plane. It's
okay.
very important that you have
So,
the toll fee. At least the toll fee should be there. Sometimes you don't know whether your kids take your money when they go to school. They go to your wallet and they take money. You don't, if you don't check it, sometimes you don't find money inside your wallet. So it's very important that you check whether you have enough money to pay the toll. Otherwise, there's a long procedure and it might take time and it's very cumbersome. And therefore, please check. In addition to checking the condition of the vehicle, which is very important, check that you have petrol
enough
or
fuel,
fuel,
and
fuel,
then
and also enough money in your wallet so that you would be able to pay the that is why I have shown this. I have a separate cartoon for checking the wallet, but it is not there, but at least
yeah.
uh, um, in the book
So I'll
it's
take you
explained.
to the second picture, the 2 second rule that we
Yeah,
talked about.
yeah, 2 second rule. If you see that, you will have to see, check the car in front passing a fixed object. Here I have shown a lamppost. As soon as that car passes the lamppost, you have to count for 2 seconds. 1001 and 1001. If you reach that lamppost before you count 2 seconds, you are too close. If you don't reach, then you are keeping the distance. So it is 2 seconds. Sometimes some guys say even 3 seconds would be fine in road conditions, especially if the condition of the road is slippery. You may have to keep a longer distance to avoid an
Yeah.
accident in an
Yeah.
emergency.
So the next picture is about. You said to check whether there's enough fuel. It looks like this gentleman is taking enough fuel.
If you drink and drive, this is in general. If you drink and drive in any road, you are heading for disaster. Most of us think that drink and drive should not do because the police is there to catch us, and there is a penalty, maybe 25,000 bucks and 3 months suspension of your license itself. It
Yeah.
is not the most important part. The most important part is if you meet with an accident, if you drink and drive, you don't have sense, so you lose your judgment. Then you make an
True.
accident. then your life is at stake, the most important. Then someone else's life is at stake. The other important thing is the cost of a drink and drive accident would go into millions, because you meet with an accident and you are found drunk, your insurance will not take up the bill. They will not pay you a cent for your vehicle as well as for the other vehicle. All you have to pay on your own. That's the most dangerous thing as to your budget, or if you're talking about money, not the money that you're going to pay to the police or to the government, but the money that you would be spending on repairing your vehicle and also repairing someone else's vehicle or some other property. And if you meet with an accident, a person get injured or a person dies, then the cost is going to be very, very high. There's no limit. So therefore, you may have to sell your properties, and you may have to sell, put all your savings in order to save from this lawsuit. Therefore, it's very important that you don't drink and drive. If you want to drink, assume that we drink. I also drink, but if I'm going for a party, definitely I will use
A
uh,
taxi.
taxi there, because there are so many taxis now. It's there in your um, phone applications. It's very easy to book a taxi and go. That is very safe, and you save a lot of money, and you can enjoy a party. Don't drink more anyway, but some guys drink more when you come on a vehicle. But don't do that. But enjoy yourself. Drink
Yeah.
responsibly wherever you go, whether you are on a taxi or whether you're for driving. No drinking, but even you go on a taxi, drive, drink responsibly. That's very important.
Yeah. So we have this picture. That looks very normal. Can you explain about this picture? I mean, I'm
Yeah,
taking these pictures in order to drive a point from your very book.
yeah. Especially this picture, I wanted to have this because in Sri Lanka, when we are changing lanes is a very important task in on the expressways. Usually, when you change lane, you need to see the rear mirror. Rear mirror is very important. Then you also have to see the side mirror. But on the rear mirror and side mirror, you may not see everything behind. There is something called a blind spot that you don't see on all those mirrors, two mirrors. So the blind spot can be seen only by putting your shoulder. Just see from your shoulder, just put your shoulder, turn your shoulder, then you see the blind spot, right? So to see the blind spot, you need to do that, putting your shoulder, turning your shoulder and see. So signal, how do you change the lane? First is the signal. You have to put the signal, rear view mirror, then the side mirror, then the blind spot. You, if you want to put it on a small acronym, you could say SMMS. S is signal, rear mirror, that is mirror, then side mirror, then the blind spot. So SMMS, like we have SMS. So put one more S to see the blind spot. Some of the new vehicles, they have the blind spot also indicated by a lamp. But anyway, it's always better you have a physical uh, look as well about the blind spot. So that is why
Yeah.
I have put this on this in explaining how you make lane changes. Lane changes are so important.
This is very important. Thank you
Yeah,
very
those
much.
are some of the areas where you meet accidents.
Yeah, I mean, this is an area where someone could easily ignore this.
That's
So
right.
let's move on to the next one. This talks about reduce speed to 80 kilometers per hour.
Yeah,
Most of the time, we
yeah,
see this near the exit.
yeah. Sometimes, yes. Now, usually, when we got onto the expressways, we think that the speed is 100 kilometers always. It is not so always. And rainy days, slippery times, and also when repairs are taking place, when accidents have taken place, usually the speed limits are changed. There are illuminated, not this kind of boards, but illuminated boards are there.
Delete.
So please look into that. Please be vigilant as to speed limits. If you go beyond those speed limits, you will get a traffic ticket again. Why they introduce reduce speed? It is dangerous to drive at the standard speed. So therefore, if we are talking about safety, be vigilant and reduce the speed as indicated.
Yeah. So next one is this. I can see a
Yeah,
child
yeah,
on a child seat. Uh, we talked
yeah.
about this.
Yes, this is what I wanted to show. This is very, very important. If you have a child who cannot be secured by a seat belt, you should take the child on a seat specially made for children. So if you see that now the seat is on the other side, you know, not onto the front, it is facing the rear. So that's very important, because if we put onto the front, even if the seat belt is not sometimes secured, his or her neck might come down. So it could even break the neck if you keep the child on the other side, on the facing the front. Now this child seat is fixed facing the rear side, which is very important. So never take children on the lap
Yeah.
of the parents if the
Use an
child is
appropriate
small.
seat.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have to use. This is, we are talking about life and death of a value, valuable child of yours.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. Uh, I can see someone is driving with slippers on.
Yeah. Here again, in it is always better not to wear slippers even when you are driving anywhere, because slippers can entangle. As soon as you take off your leg to apply brakes, sometimes it could entangle within the other slipper, or with your fingers, or with a pedal, right? Especially on a expressway when you're driving at a very high speed, right? If anything of that sort happens, it could be an accident. In a normal way, normal driving speeds, you might be able to maneuver, but here you can't. Therefore, it is not to. It is always better to use shoes. If you're not using shoes, at least keep the slippers away uh, from the driving area, or the legs where you keep legs, and use barefoot. It's very important, because if it goes and sticks somewhere and it entangles, then you are heading for disaster.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Some of these are little things. One might feel, okay, I know this, but you might overlook. And then, okay, I'm just going to a close by place. It's just 2-3 kilometers away, but
Yeah,
uh, it could be dangerous. How about this? I can see a lady taking a
yeah,
selfie.
yeah. Now we have a uh, style. Now everyone takes a selfie wherever they go, and sometimes people tend to take selfies even when they're driving. This is so dangerous. Never attempt to take a selfie in when you are driving on any road, but especially on the expressways.
Express space.
That's so dangerous. So dangerous. You can take a selfie once you have stopped the vehicle somewhere else, but not on the expressway. No way, right? If you get caught again, you can be punished. I don't know whether
Yeah.
we have laws to that, but definitely this is a dangerous act.
No, using a mobile phone, I think there are laws which says it doesn't say whether it's a selfie or a call. You are not supposed to use a mobile phone while
Yeah,
driving.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think, yeah, it covers.
it
It
covers.
covers. Yes.
Okay, and then this is another one. You are talking about the lanes, sticking to the
Mm,
left lane.
mm. Yes. Always you have to drive on the left lane unless you are overtaking. So as
So
soon as
here,
this is where you overtake a vehicle. So have your signal maneuvering again, rear mirror, that is mirror, right? First thing is signal, rear mirror, side mirror, then the blind spot. So you have to have these four steps: rear mirror.
rear mirror,
Sorry, first
side.
thing is
Yeah.
signal,
Oh, I'm
rear
sorry.
mirror,
Yeah,
side mirror,
Let me repeat with you. First, signal,
signal, rear mirror,
then rear mirror,
side mirror,
side mirror,
blind
and
spot,
blind spot.
then
and
overtake.
move, overtake.
Yeah,
Okay,
overtake
interesting.
safely and keep the distance. Don't put the vehicle onto the left as soon as you overtake. Keep the distance. Go at least about 100 meters so that you
Before.
can safely come back again with signal, right? Again with signal and come back so that you would allow the other guy to have a safer distance.
Yeah, I think this is the. Uh, I don't see anything abnormal about this picture, but you want to explain?
Yeah, this is again important because most of us don't use rear seat belts. The
Ah,
passengers on expressway, all the passengers should wear seat belts. Not only the front passenger, but also the rear passengers as well. If you go and watch some of the YouTube videos, you will see that the passengers who are not wearing seat belts on the rear seats in an accident are coming onto the pushed onto the windscreen.
yeah,
That is so dangerous because you are driving at a very high speed. So therefore, it's very important everyone inside the vehicle wear seat belts. That is why the seat belts are there inside the vehicle for all the passengers. You see, all the modern vehicles have seat belts for all the passengers. There's a reason why the manufacturers are installing this. By regulation, all the manufacturers should have rear seat belts in all these passenger vehicles. So therefore, it's very important. Take this seriously. Don't wait until you meet with an accident, right? It's so important that you wear seat belts. Once you get used to wearing seat belts, it is not an issue. But early days, you might feel little some kind of discomfort, but you will get used to because we did not wear seat belts in the past, and we didn't want to do that earlier. Now,
yeah,
uh, now it automatically whenever I sit on the driving seat, it's like putting the gear automatically. My seat belt is worn by me without my knowledge. So when you get
yeah,
used to this kind of thing, right, this is very new to us. This is new experience. We need to you know have habits, new habits. We need to learn new habits in driving and also traveling on expressways to save
yeah.
our sorry.
Right. Uh, okay. Uh, we have Madhuranga who says very useful tips. Thank you. We have Shrestha Fernando saying this law about child safety it's not precisely applies in normal day-to-day action by Sri Lanka police. Like maybe on the road, if they see a child in the front seat,
Mm,
they are not being warned or given a ticket
mm,
in
mm.
on normal Sri Lankan routes. I don't know how it happens on the expressway, but if you go to a normal city, nothing happens.
Yeah. Even a
Yeah,
normal city, we should not keep toddlers and
kids.
kids
Yeah,
in
yes,
front seat. This is something that we everyone should learn, and also police also should have some kind of directions to warn people, and also we should have law. We need to have penalties in this country, otherwise it won't work. Courteous
true.
request won't work. We need to
Yeah.
have some kind of penalties so that people will adhere to those.
In case of an accident, we don't wish for accidents, but in case of an accident on the expressway, uh, what should I do?
So there would be two types of accidents. One is your vehicle meeting with an accident, and also you observe another vehicle has met with an accident. So
Yeah,
two accidents. The first thing, if you meet with an accident, best thing that you should do is not to get out of the vehicle, because in expressway, vehicles are moving at very high speeds.
high speeds.
So if you get out of the vehicle and move around, you might meet with another accident, probably a fatal one, right? Therefore, need not get out of the accident. Try and see the location where you are. There is a location marker On expressway, there's every 100 meters there is something called a location marker, a small board on the side of the road. Find out what is there. It shows how many kilometers and the point where your vehicle is. So get that location marker and call 1969. That is
That's the
emergency.
emergency.
That's the
Okay.
emergency number. So then they will come and provide you help. So the best thing is to call them, be inside the vehicle. If the vehicle is not blocking the others, right? If you can take the vehicle to a side, always take the vehicle to a side, but don't roam around, right? Don't ask help from the others. Get official help. It is available 1969. So please do so and don't roam around because it's going to be very dangerous because no one is expecting you to be there, right?
Yes. Yeah. Uh,
And if
yeah.
you see an accident, the next one, some
Yes.
other person's accident, so you may not be able to help another person. Right? The best thing again is to find the location and call 1969 and say that there is an accident of this nature and please come and help. And also, I told you to be inside the vehicle and take your vehicle to a side and be inside the vehicle, but don't be inside the vehicle if there is a tendency or a probability of fire, right? If there is a probability of fire, if you see that smoke is coming out of the vehicle, from the vehicle, don't stay inside because you might get burnt inside. So other than that, my advice is for you to stay inside the vehicle until you get emergency help. Emergency help is available within short period.
We
Very
have
important.
two questions. One is from Isuru Madhusank. Isuru is
Yeah,
actually joining from YouTube.
I see.
Interestingly, what if having difficult situation like a heart attack, or if you are tired, what could you do?
You can always take your vehicle to a side. There are certain places where you can stop vehicles. So try and see if there is no place that you can stop in a heart attack or a specific condition like that. You will have to take on to the side so that shoulder of the
There's a narrow
road.
shoulder,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, shoulder of the road and ask for help again.
and then switch on hazard
Yeah, you can
lights.
also. Yes, I couldn't tell you about the hazard lights. I have written that on the book. Always, when you have an accident or anything that you have stopped, please put the hazard lights. And here again, put your hazard lights, call 1969 for help. They will provide you. They're supposed to provide help to
Yeah.
any situation. Even if you run out of petrol, they will bring petrol.
Okay.
Right?
Only difference is you got to pay.
You got to pay probably double. Double or more. More. Not double, I
Yeah,
mean, so many
it's
times more
more. Yeah, I
for
know.
the mistake that you have made.
Yeah. So probably the last question we would take for the day. This is from again Chiranta. When we are driving on double lane roads from Nittambo to Kadawatha, a lot of people driving very slowly on the right side. Is it okay to drive slowly on right lane? Uh, if no, is there any speed limit or anything like that?
In the normal roads, we see that actually one person can be penalized for driving slow, even the normal roads. Right?
Yep.
You cannot drive slow on the right lane. Right lane is again there for you to overtake if possible, and if there is enough room, then you need to take on to the left lane. But if there is no room, and then you need to drive not very slow to let others also uh, use the road. So you need to have a kind of speed that you allow the traffic to move swiftly. So,
Yeah.
good question again. There are certain things that we need to understand. I have not written everything that is driving on the other roads, but there are so many things that we can write about driving on the other roads. I wanted to the next edition probably I would add the general driving tips also, so that people could use this book for all the roads. Good
So
question again.
amazing. Yeah, amazing, Maxwell. I mean, you as an ordinary citizen, a responsible citizen in this country, you have decided to make expressways safer for everyone. I mean, not everyone would go that extra mile and do things. So my respect, my gratitude towards you for taking that initiative